Should your new lover keep in touch with their ex, or is this a sign of trouble? Also, do cheating counterparts really deserve second chances? We debate this and more today on No Hearts Barred.
No matter how much you hurt me, and no matter what I say, when I say I don't care if you leave in me, deep inside I want you to stay. Every time we fuss and we argue, we end it all when we get mad. But boy,
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of No Hearts Barred, the show where we believe in free speech and broken hearts. I'm your host and mediator, Ashley Armstrong. Today, we will be discussing issues in a relationship where you must make the choice of trusting your partner or realizing that the effort is just not worth it. Today's panel will consist of 6 guests. We have Ronald Wright, Tavares Dowser, John Wilson, Carmela Williams, Chloe Allen, and Liza Sweeterman. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you all doing today?
Doing good.
Okay, well, let's get right into it. Today's first question is entitled, Welcome Back. It's been said before that a lot of ex-couples do keep in touch after the split, but many people believe that this can hinder a new relationship. Is it dangerous for a girl or guy to keep in touch with their ex, or is it completely harmless? Ronald, I'll start with you.
I think that it's harmless, and the reason why is because it can put up a lot of red flags, and it shows your maturity level, whereas if you're always thinking that your ex is always doing something, or your significant other right now is doing something, then it shows that you're very insecure. And I think that if you're insecure, essentially it's going to destroy the relationship, because you'll have trust issues that shouldn't be there, and you'll put up walls that shouldn't be there, all because you're thinking about what the last person did. And obviously, if they moved on and you were this new person, then obviously you're doing something right that they probably didn't do in the past.
Yeah. I do agree.
I think that you can tell, like, how well you know your significant other can really say a lot about it. Like, if you really, like, you just, like, if you start getting paranoid and then you just take a step back and be like, wait a second, I know this person, they never do anything to hurt me, then you're in the clear. But if they've given you reasons before not to trust them on littler things, then yeah.
If it's daily, if you're texting your ex daily, if the person is getting kind of antsy about their phone, I mean, I should be able to hand my phone to my boyfriend and when he asks to see it and be like, yeah, look through it.
I think once you get to the point where you feel like you have something to hide, then it becomes a problem.
Exactly.
But do you trust your mate, but do you trust the ex?
I mean,
So it's kind of one of those things, but to kind of picking back on what he's saying, yes, you can have fully trust in the person that you're dating, but do you know what their ex intentions are? You know, it's kind of one of those things where, yes, I can love the person that I'm dating completely and trust them completely, but, you have incidents when you go out, you've been drinking, sometimes situations happen, and exes, for some reasons, can hold on to feelings and take advantage of that moment.
Exactly.
But I feel like in that situation, you can address it with your partner, and you can be like, hey, listen, just so you know, I don't really trust this person. And then just be like, look, I'm just asking you to be careful around them.
I think it's okay to have communication with your ex, because, I mean, I'm friends with, like, not all, I don't have that many exes, but the exes that I do have, I'm still friends with them because there's nothing there anymore. If you feel like there still could be something between you and your ex and you're in a relationship with someone else, then I think you need to cut that off.
Or if you feel like like you were saying, Tavares, if the ex has intentions, like they want to get together, then you need to cut it off. Like, you don't need to feed into the emotions of that, because then you're going to be causing a whole other bunch of commotion.
Or if you're feeding into it, maybe you just don't need to be in a relationship with the
Exactly,
person at all. Maybe you still have feelings for
You need
it.
to
Maybe
take a
you
step
and that
back.
ex need to work on what y'all have.
Before you try to
Exactly.
enter into something
I
else.
think the best thing to do is everyone probably take care of themselves, and if everyone take care of themselves, then it could free up a lot of chaos inside the relationship, because you should be responsible enough to say, well, okay, well, my significant other doesn't like this person, well, maybe I shouldn't talk to them as much. You can't control someone, but you can control how far it goes.
What about
you do in your
yourself?
actions.
How many of y'all can honestly say that you've never had a moment where you looked at a movie, that you moved on, but it's just like, we used to watch this every Thursday, or a show that you used to watch every Thursday together, so it still
Or
can kind of,
song.
I just feel like that's a chapter closed. You know, even if you are over them, they're over you. I just feel like that should be a chapter closed in your life because you never know. You may see, you know, the restaurant that you go to, it could trigger an emotion that you didn't even think was there, you know. So I just think you should just close those chapters, me personally, and not have any relationship with your ex.
I feel like if you were truly in love with your ex, if you're truly in love with that person, there's always going to be some part of you that's going to think, gosh, what if, you know? No matter how much you love the person that you're with right now, there's probably going to be some part of you that sometimes just wishes for what you used to have.
Yeah, because you love that person for who they were.
Yeah.
And I mean, some things not gonna change. So if that person's still the same and nothing drastic happened that made y'all break up, then of course you're still gonna love that person. So
I know a couple that they dated for like 3 years, but they broke up due to like just regular just
Growing
connection
apart.
problem, but also they like moved away. They go to different colleges, but they still talk to each other and Skype like daily. And I just think that poses a problem for when they do reach a new relationship, because would you want to date somebody that's like, well, you've been talking to your ex of like 3 years and you still talk to them every day, or do I really like want to get into this? So they're setting themselves up for problems.
Exactly, because like if you're trying to get involved with somebody else and then you're still talking to this person, like you don't want to keep. It's like you're keeping two people kind of hanging like that. So you really need to evaluate yourself. You really need to take a step back. I mean, with the ex and moving forward from that.
Right.
I really think it's about a self-evaluation.
If you feel like you're reaching a point where you're talking to your ex more than your current,
Then,
that's an issue.
Then what about you run a risk? I know just personal relationships, and I even had to catch myself for doing it. I'll compare, you know, the person who I'm with to my ex, and you know, say we did end on good terms. Well, it's like, well, my ex didn't used to do this. Well, you need to do better. You know, it kind of leaves that window open for that, because if your ex is still in the picture and they're still doing those things that are good, you know, when the person you with kind of, you know, don't know how to approach y'all relationship yet, and how to approach being with you, your ex already has that experience. So it still creates more drama, because then you run the risk of, I'm comparing who I'm with now to who I'm with, you know, who I was with in the past. And it just can leave a lot of open doors open that needs to be closed.
Well, what about this? What if you and your ex end on really bad terms and through just time, y'all end up being cool again? What about that?
Yeah. I'm back cool with my ex, actually.
Me too.
We actually talk probably every day. I mean, I just feel like the breakup was bad, but at the same time, he made me learn a lot about myself after the breakup, and I appreciate him for that. So it's like, no matter what relationship I get into, I will still be friends with him, because he made me learn something about me. And if it weren't for him, I would never know that. And I would still be the same person before I met him. So I do appreciate him. And I feel like we will be friends for a long time.
That's good.
I think the second when you start getting more excited to spend time with your ex, or equal amount of excitement to spend time with your ex as you do with your current significant other, that's when you need to start taking a step back. So I think that's when you need to start being like, wow, maybe I shouldn't compare them or see them on the same level, because they're not anymore.
It's hard not to compare sometimes. I think everyone does it. Everyone does it. I mean, it's difficult.
It's human nature.
It is.
That's why I hate double dates.
Yeah, and I feel like people come into your life for a reason, and everybody teaches you something, and if you just cut out everybody that's ever taught you anything, that kind of defeats the purpose of continuing to learn from them.
Because
you know?
you're constantly learning and growing. And people come, like you said, people come into
And I
your
feel
life
like
for a
if your significant other demands that you never talk to any of your exes, like Ronald said, that's very insecure or immature
And
on their part.
that really sounds like they're up to something too.
Or it's just they were hurt, you know, and sometimes hurt people hurt, you know, and they just don't want to go through that all over again. So their way of coping is to, like, if you have no opportunities to cheat on me in the way that I've already been cheated on, then you won't hurt me. So my defense to that is you have no communication at all with
And
anyone that you talk to. And it's gonna cause tension in your relationship.
Trust issues.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for this question. Coming up, we'll bring up an ongoing issue in relationships. Do cheating counterparts deserve a second chance? Right here on No Hearts Barred. Hi, and welcome back to No Hearts Barred. The panelists just went over their opinions on if an ex staying in someone's life is foul play or non-factor. for a new relationship. Now we're going to go down a new direction. Here's question number 2. One of the main reasons that relationships end is because of cheating. However, sometimes it's hard to get over your ex despite the things they have done. So, despite their wrongdoings, do cheating counterparts deserve a second chance? Liza, this time we'll begin with you.
I personally, honestly, 99% of the time have to say no. I think maybe that's just because I'm a very proud person, but I could, and not that, I feel like I'd be too hurt, and there'd just be so much there that if they're the type of person that would let that happen anyway, I mean, yeah, I get that it's circumstantial. I'd have to say no and just move on. Other fish in the sea, man.
Once a cheater, always a cheater. I'm sorry. I guess I'm a bitter woman, but but I don't know. I mean, I understand things happen. Yeah, you're going to go to a party. Yeah, you're going to make out with another girl. But I think as a person, if you know what you're doing is wrong and then you're feeding into it, I really think you need to take a step back and you need to decide, what kind of person am I? Is this what I would want happening to me?
I think that it is extremely circumstantial. There is no black and white. Like, there's always a gray area. If you just cheat on your partner constantly with different people all the time, you're always having affairs, no, there is no second chance in that. There's no fifth chance in that, because some people get more than they deserve. But if you just so happen to, I don't think cheating's a mistake, but if you make a mistake, I think that over time and over a lot of work on the relationship, that can be not forgotten, but forgiven.
Chloe, I think I may have to disagree with you. Once a cheater, always a cheater. I think that's why a lot of people are missing out on real love. I just think sometimes you have to ask yourself, what did I do? I'm not going to say that you pushed them, but, did you stop communication? Did you stop affection? Did you stop intercourse? It's kind of one of those things that, did I back away out of this relationship to push my lover into the arms of someone else? Sometimes it's like they cheated, but what did I do to push them into the arms of someone else? So it's one of those things. I don't believe once a cheater, always a cheater. Just sometimes, like you said, it's circumstances. It could be that you weren't around. You weren't there in a key moment in their life, so they went to someone else to fill that void.
But I feel like in that situation, I feel like you could approach your significant other and be like, look, I'm not happy with the way things are going.
How can we work this out?
And then if they're still like, oh, and they blow you off, then you're like, well, I'm sorry, then we're done. We can't do this anymore. Then you take a stand. And if they do, I just feel like cheating personally, I just think it's a very selfish in the moment act, like an act of passion.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't have I feel like maybe years down the road, once that person has grown up and realized what they did, and they fully are like, look, this happened 2 years ago, I promise it won't happen again, then maybe you can start to think over it. But I think the next week is no.
I think cheating damages people emotionally so much that was one of the main reasons why people put up their walls, because they feel like everyone is the same, especially when we go back and say that you're comparing people. You're probably going to start thinking, okay, well, I started seeing this sign when they started cheating on me, well, maybe they're doing that. But I think that the person that has been cheated on, they could easily just try to forget it in a sense, but still always try to keep that in the back of their mind, because everyone's not the same. So,
yeah, I mean, of course, that everyone comes into it. If you've been cheated on, you're automatically going to come into it with your guard up. That's automatic. But it's kind of one of those things where, how strong is our love? It's one of those testaments. If your love is really that strong, you believe that this is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, then you have to ask yourself, have I ever lied? Have I cheated on them? Because are we talking intercourse? Are we talking emotionally cheating?
Yeah.
Emotional cheating.
I mean, because emotional cheating, to me, I feel emotional cheating. And some of us, how many times we've been flirting with someone at school or out and about. We love our partner, but we got caught up in flirting with someone where you were cheating on your spouse right then. What if they caught you in that moment? Do you deserve a second chance?
Yeah, kind of feeding back off what Tavares said, it's like, if you still have hatred towards the person that's cheated on, then you're basically saying that, okay, he made a mistake, well, I can't love him. But how do you feel like if you make a mistake, could that person also love you again? Mm-hmm. Are you saying that, okay, I made a mistake, so I can't be loved also?
This question could be interpreted like, do cheaters deserve a second chance? Are you talking about a second chance with that person or a second chance in a good relationship? Because some people believe in karma.
Yeah.
What goes around
Yes,
comes around.
it
If you get cheated on, if you cheat on somebody, then it's going to come back to you like sevenfold.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody has had or will have at some point that time in their life where they are just careless. They just don't care who they hurt, because that goes into growing up and learning from your mistakes. And if you were that type of person to where you had 4 girlfriends or 4 boyfriends at one time, but one day you meet that person that you just think is like your other half, I think you deserve to fix what you've already done.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like, make up for that.
It's just hard for me to to feel sympathy for this, because I've been in a relationship for about 3.5 years now, and we've been long distance for about 2 of those years.
Wow.
And we go to different colleges, and I trust him enough to where if he was to hang out in a room full of girls, I'd still be like, okay, but but I would never ever in a million years expect him to make that leap. But at the same time, I feel like we're a very trusting relationship. But at the same way, I hang out with a lot of guys at one time, and he's never being like, so what were you doing with them? He's like, okay, I understand. I think I feel like if your relationship is secure enough, then maybe you can heal that wound. But a relationship that's built on nothing, then no.
Yeah.
What about married couples? Couples that have been married for 20, 30 years.
I don't believe in
7-year
divorce.
itch.
No.
I'm a strong believer in I just believe the divorce is absolutely final. We went to marriage counseling, we went to, in a jungle somewhere, and we've gotten by ourselves in a tent, no one's around, we've really got to know each other, somebody, the Buddha prayed over me and everything. To me, I just feel like a marriage, and it's almost, it's kind of hard to have those feelings nowadays, because I feel like marriage is taken so lightly nowadays. But I just feel it's someone who I'm with, and I gave you my vows, and I'm giving you the rest of my life. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we can stay together. And so if we married and you cheat on me, you better be ready to go to war, because we finna fight it out.
Yeah.
I think marriage is a bond, a strong, special bond that is not meant to be broken over a misstep. But like I said, if they're just having continuing, ongoing affairs throughout the whole marriage, and you just now found out about it, oh, I just found out that you've cheated on me 5 times in the 10 years that we've been married.
There's a story. I know someone who was married for 20 years, and she came home and her husband was in a bed with another woman.
He's alive?
He's alive. She's still with him. She's still with him. She said that it was very difficult. They had to go to marriage counseling. They had to. It's a whole new thing. You had to open it up.
Marriage is serious.
I piggyback off that.
You go ahead.
Okay, my parents have been married for 21 years in December, and my dad he has a lot of problems. I will admit he has a lot of trust issues. And growing up, I kind of got the hint that my dad might have did something wrong to my mom, in a cheating sense, but I didn't really understand then. But it's they've been through so much. They've been broke together, 20 years, it's a long time to be with somebody. Exactly. And it's been times that my dad has done stuff to my mom that I wanted to literally just kill him. And I was like, Mom, you need to divorce him. But after I growed up, and I realized that sometimes you just have to look past your spouse's faults, because you've been together, you've invested so much of your life with this one person that you might not know how to function without them. So I feel like if they are, they do something wrong, you should just, try to forgive them at least, because that's so long.
I take marriage very seriously, but I don't see marriage as a necessary step in a lot of relationships, I feel like people ask me all the time, are you and your boyfriend gonna get married? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if it feels right eventually, but not at least until I'm 28 or something. I feel like if you do decide to get married, it should be just for that commitment, but not because you feel like you need to be married, not because you want to have kids, not because you want to live together. because I feel like being married is when you are just like, I am definitely going to do this with this person for the rest of my life.
Marriage is very serious because, in essence, you're tying your soul to that person. So if you come out and you marry the wrong person, then you may be in trouble. So then marriage is a promise, so you're supposed to take it seriously. And then it's not always about emotional things. Sometimes you have to be about financial things. How if you want to have kids, just different things of that nature. So you just shouldn't jump into marriage because you feel like, okay, we've been dating for 2 years. So it's not always, marriage is not the best answer.
I feel like our generation is rushing into marriage like really, really fast. Like we feel we're obligated to get married. Like
Bachelorette.
Exactly. I mean, I'm on Facebook and everyone's getting engaged, and I'm like, haha, I have a cat. Like,
Right.
I know. Like, wow. I mean, it's really insane. Like, I really do, and I'm feeling that pressure too. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be forever alone.
I think the best advice that anyone ever gave me, not to take it to a religious point, but it's like, do you love God and do you still sin? You know, and I had to really think on what they said to me. Do I love God, but do I still sin? You know, it's one of those things where I can love my spouse, you know, and even if, you know, that weak moment of cheating, you know, it's like that bond that, whatever that bond is so sacred. It's almost like that bond with God. It's so sacred that it's always a way to come back to it, you know. So I really had to take that in. I still can love God and I can still sin in the sense of, is my spouse cheated? Yeah, they cheated, but I can still love them despite that. You know, and it's one of those things I really, love is eternal.
Love the
you know,
sinner, hate the sin.
Yeah,
So
you know.
It sounds like we have a lot of mixed responses here. We've obviously come to, you know, some sort of agreement that marriage is more serious in a sense than just a regular platonic relationship that we have with other people. So that's great. I loved all of your viewpoints. So wow, this has been an insightful conversation. I'll be back with the final wrap up today on No Hearts Barred. And that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to catch us on our next episode where we discuss the friend zone and more. I'm Ashley Armstrong, and this is No Hearts Barred.